You know, when you look at an ancient statue or sacred image, have you ever really stopped to think about where it came from? The origin story isn't always some grand divine plan. Sometimes the most powerful icons start with a single, deeply human moment. And today, we're diving into one of those stories. So what really is the origin of a sacred image? We might think of these huge cosmic events or ancient rituals, but the story we're exploring today, it starts with something much more relatable, a mother's broken heart. All right, so let's set the scene. We're in the legendary city of Dvaraka, and here we meet Devaki, Krishna's mother. But her experience of motherhood was just filled with tragedy. She spent almost his entire childhood locked away in prison, totally separated from the son she loved more than anything. Then one day, all that grief she'd been holding in just came pouring out. She turned to Kṛṣṇa, her son, who is now a grown man, and spoke these absolutely heartbreaking words. I mean, can you just imagine the pain? Missing every single milestone, the first steps, the first words, all the little playful moments. That was Devaki's reality. And look, she wasn't just asking to hear some stories. She didn't want a secondhand account. Her deepest desire, her one and only wish, was to somehow live those moments, to actually feel what it was like to be his mom when he was just a little boy. How in the world do you grant a wish like that? I mean, you can't just turn back time, right? But Kṛṣṇa, wanting to fulfill his devotee's deepest desire, decided he would do something absolutely extraordinary. He wasn't just going to tell her about his childhood. He was going to let her experience it. And boom, just like that, the divine king, the wise leader, he was gone. And in his place stood this small child, just bubbling with energy and mischief, looking up at his mother. The miracle was happening. He immediately starts running in circles around her, just like any kid would, laughing and tugging at her sorry to get her attention. For the very first time, Devaki was seeing the spirited little boy she had only ever dreamed about. And this is where the miracle gets even deeper. Devaki's entire reality just shifted. Suddenly, she wasn't a queen watching a vision. No, she was in it. She found herself doing the daily chores of a village mother, churning yogurt, completely immersed in the life she'd always yearned for. And then came that iconic moment. With a big crash, little Kṛṣṇa smashes the pot of fresh butter. He doesn't care one bit about the mess. He just digs in and starts eating it with this pure, unfiltered joy, smearing it all over his face. This was him. This was the mischievous child she had missed. Can you even imagine her happiness? Her heart, which had been so heavy for so long, was now just completely overflowing. In that one miraculous moment, her deepest wish came true. She was on cloud 9, absolutely lost in the perfect fulfillment of a lifetime of longing. But this incredibly personal, magical moment between a mother and her son, well, it wasn't entirely unseen. Someone else was watching, and what they saw was about to change the course of this story forever. So who was this secret observer? Who else was there for such a private and profound miracle? Let's find out. It was Rukmiṇī, Kṛṣṇa's own wife. Peeking through a keyhole, she saw the whole thing happen. She witnessed Kṛṣṇa's incredible love for his mother and was just completely captivated by this vision of him as an enchanting, butter-covered child. You know, that vision affected her so deeply that she went to Kṛṣṇa with a plea of her own. She was so moved, so in love with this form, that she wanted to be able to worship it and serve it forever. Her wish was to make this fleeting, magical moment permanent. Okay, so now there's a new challenge. How do you take a momentary vision, a feeling, an experience, and turn it into something tangible, something that can last for all time? Kṛṣṇa, hearing Rukmiṇī's wish, set a whole new plan in motion. And this process was, precise and divine. First, he summoned the greatest craftsman you could possibly imagine, Viśvakarmā, the architect of the demigods. The instructions were crystal clear. Find a sacred śālagrāma stone and carve a murti, a secret statue, that captures that exact moment. But how could they be sure the likeness was perfect? I mean, Devaki had only seen him as a child in this vision. So for the ultimate test of authenticity, the statue was taken to the one person who knew Kṛṣṇa's childhood firsthand, his foster mother, Yaśodā. And the result? It was undeniable. The second Yaśodā laid her eyes on that murti, she just started to weep.
To her, it wasn't just a statue. That was her son, perfectly captured in stone. This was the ultimate confirmation they needed.
And if you look at the details, it's all there. The statue literally freezes that exact moment of joy. He's glowing with happiness, holding a little piece of butter in one hand and the churning stick he used to cause all that mischief in the other. It's the vision made eternal.
But the creation of this statue wasn't the end of its story. Oh no, it was just the beginning. This secret object, born from a mother's wish, was about to start its own incredible journey through the ages. For a whole age, that statue was worshipped by Rukmiṇī, a constant reminder of the miracle she saw. But as times changed and that era ended, the great warrior Arjuna knew it had to be protected. So he carefully hid the statue, burying it to keep it safe. And there it stayed, lost for centuries, until it was finally rediscovered by the great scholar Madhvācārya, ready to be worshipped by a whole new generation.
So let's just trace that back. It all started with Devaki's simple, heartfelt wish. That wish led to a miraculous moment, which was then witnessed by Rukmiṇī. And her desire to preserve that moment is what led to it being forged in stone, creating an icon that would last forever.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This whole story is about preserving a precious moment. So in our own lives, without celestial architects or miracles, how do we hold on to the memories that mean the most to us? What are our keyholes and what are our sacred stones?